I'm going to parlay this into our Warchant top 40 list. This doesn't give away tons of state secrets. We all kind of know who's going to be in the top 5 or top 10. So I'm going to ask you on first down, who is going to be the highest rated or the first defensive lineman you put in your top 40?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I assume you're talking about the edges too, right? So
yes, it could be interior or edge. Yes.
I'm going to say Daryl Jackson, and I think I may be one of the few. I think he needs to be a dominant, disruptive force for this defense to really sing, and I think he has an opportunity to be even more so than Farmer. Now, Farmer's got the better resume at this point. You could argue that Peyton has the better resume at this point, certainly. I don't think it's an argument. They both do. They just do. They have better resumes than Daryl Jackson at this point. But Daryl Jackson was going through the motions much of last year because he could never play. And then he was put in an untenable position where he was one of the few players that was of the starting ilk to get out on the field in a game against Georgia, where obviously he was kind of the lone guy that anybody had to worry about, with no Braden Fisk and no Jared Verse and no, all those guys really kind of left him on an island. That was a tough deal. So I think that the version I saw in camp was a highly motivated, very in shape, very focused, and surprisingly much more mature version of Daryl Jackson. He's come a very long way since constantly chirping about things that really, frankly, I didn't think he had a right to chirp about given his resume at this point. So now I see a guy that cares. I see a guy that comes into camp in shape. I see a guy that gives it his all on every rep. And I see a guy who's more physically gifted than the rest of the players I just named along that defensive front. So if he's going to play to that talent and he's going to have that kind of focus, I think he could be the best of the bunch. It does require some projection for somebody we haven't seen it from, but I think he's the most talented of the bunch.
Okay, that's a good comprehensive answer. Let's see if we can do that again on second down.
All right.
On second down, who is going to be the second highest rated wide receiver on your board? Your number 2 wide receiver in your top 40. You're probably sensing a pattern now.
Yeah, Hakeem. I think Benson will be number 1, but I think Hakeem will be number 2. And I think I still have a lot of faith that Hakeem is going to have a very big season. He may even emerge as the one. Hasn't had to do it in a game yet. Benson's more of a veteran presence than a guy that I think is more suited for the role. I think he's more ready for the role. He's been around college football longer, and I think he has the maturity level to handle the pressure. And I think he showed it in camp that he's going to probably be the one. But I think Hakeem could definitely be the 2. It would have been an interesting debate had Destin Hill been healthy, because Destin was really having a great camp, Tom. You know that, and was kind of electrifying and looked like a guy that I thought, oh, wow, okay. You never know in year 2 who's going to take that big jump forward, but he looked like he was on a path to do so. I hate it for him, and I'm rooting for him to get right for the next year, but obviously he's not going to be available to Florida State this year. So I think it's Hakeem Williams. I'm not going to put as much stock into the lack of production this spring as maybe it felt while I was there, and maybe it is seen as others from the outside, because I think he was going against 2 really good corners, against a very good defense. He was, I think, held back by the fact that, the defense knows what's coming against the offense in spring. After a while, we were running pretty bland offense against a defense that's very good and knows what's coming. And then number 2, his quarterback was learning the offense. So I think opportunities were missed that were not always his fault. You had a quarterback who's trying to get a sense of what he's doing. I think he's going to play well. I think he's a physically gifted kid. I think he's going to take a big leap forward. He'll be number 2 for me.
This one might be the toughest of the downs. Third down. Give me your number 3 running back in your top 40 list. Your third rated running back.
I don't know that I can do it. It sounds, that's not an answer. Cam?
Ooh,
probably.
Okay. So right? The candidates, I'll rattle off the candidates really quickly.
Here's why. Because you already have your one. He's in the new preview for the NCAA football game. He's the lone Nole in that preview, right? Did I see that correctly? That's ridiculous.
Roydell is there for about a second. Yes.
Yeah, Roydell's there for a second. I think Roydell's probably your 1 for sure. And then I think Toafili's your 2. And then I would go with Cam.
So no Keziah. Okay.
I love Keziah, and I think he's going to play a role. They're loaded. If you want to interchange them, you can. I get it. I think Cam's more talented than Keziah. but Kazai's got experience. He's been around for a while and had a good camp. I wouldn't argue with you too much if you wanted to say Kazai. Toafili plays a different role. But if we're looking at the way we utilize in totality that room, I think 1-2 are Roydell and Toafili, and then any number of guys that you want to interchange there at 3.
All right, so fourth down, this one should be easier because I kind of know your thinking here, but your fourth-rated defensive back, corners and safeties combined, your fourth-rated defensive back on fourth down.
Okay, so you're counting safeties and corners.
Mm-hmm. So Azaria and Fentrell, I imagine you're going to be...
Yeah, they're right there.
And Shaheem, those are probably your top 3.
Well, then you know I'm going to go Earl Little Jr.,
That's
right?
correct. Yeah, that's correct. I figured you might. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, can I give you a dark horse?
Sure.
Devontae Brown.
This is an interesting one for the top 40 list in general. How do you fit him in there? You just brought back Amari Cooper, Conrad Husky had a lot of burn. Like, how do you sort that all out? Devontae is brought in as a veteran though by his high school head coach and a college defensive coordinator that he had. I mean, yeah, it could be that he is supposed to get plug and play.
Looked good. I don't know, man. I think that kid may surprise us. I think you got to find a way to fit him in your top 40. I really do. And even if you've got him behind 4 guys in that defensive backfield, he's probably your 5th, unless you think Duke Cooper's going to be the 5th. I don't.
Well, no, or if Duke plays slot and safety, like how are they going to rotate him? That's the Duke question. I saw that was in the Heisen League chat earlier. It was like, well, do you think they're bringing him back to play safety? And we've had this debate. They wanted him to play safety, but you think he's going to be nickel?
Yeah, I think he's going to be nickel. Yeah, I believe he's going to be nickel. And I think they did it for insurance purposes because of what they told Greedy Vance to do, which was take it on down the road.
Yeah. The guy I'm excited to see is he wouldn't be in the top 4. But I put him in my top 40 last year. He didn't do a thing. I was just a year early. That's all it was. It was Quindarius. We just talked about him a segment ago. But
we both love Quindarius.
Oh, man. He is he is awfully fluid for the size that he has to play corner. Awfully fluid and explosive.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's they've got some good players. Man, let me tell you something. That secondary ain't no joke. That's a group there that I think is going to cause problems for every team we face if they get any kind of pressure at all up front. If Peyton has the kind of year we think he should have, and Marvin Jones Jr. is going to have a breakout season, let's say, if that's about to happen, good luck, man. We're going to see a huge uptick in turnovers, I believe.